Are you dealing with a workplace that has tried everything and still has issues? I'm Adriana Girdler. I'm a productivity specialist, president of Cornerstone Dynamics at myvisualvision.com. And in today's video, you're going to hear an interview that I did with Barb DeJulia from the Night Side, talking about how to solve this exact problem. I had the pleasure of being interviewed by Barb DeJulia on the Night Side News Talk 1010 on how to stop this pattern and cycle that most organizations and workplaces are facing all the time. And this new approach is called the MVP approach. For more information, you can also check out my website. I have the link below. But the in-depth information really is in this interview, so please sit back and enjoy.
Workplaces today face increasing demands and challenges, with many employees subjected to deliver more and deliver more for less. These expectations not only promote high stress levels that may result in low effectiveness, creativity, and productivity in employees, but also declining office morale, the complete opposite of what a workplace wants. Joining us to talk about this, President and CEO of Cornerstone Dynamics, it's Adriana Girdler. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, Barb. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Adriana. And I think it's an interesting time right now because business really is changing as companies try to find efficiencies. People are doing more, they're getting paid less. How is it that companies can approach this in a way that will create a healthy work environment?
Well, I think you just hit the nail on the head. That's the healthy work environment. For years, companies have always been trying to get better at what they do, and productivity is not new. I think what's new now is that we're looking at things slightly different, and that is from this whole MVP approach, bringing in a really connectivity through visioning, but more importantly, bringing mindfulness into the workplace.
What exactly does that mean, bringing mindfulness into the workplace?
You know, I'm glad you asked that. The actual definition, and it's not my definition, it's John Kabat-Zinn's definition, who is a researcher from University of Massachusetts, who actually kind of started this mindfulness movement. And he defines it as an awareness that emerges through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally to the unfolding of experiences moment by moment. And so really what he's saying there is about being here now and not allowing things to kind of take over. It's kind of like that voice in the head, right? Where all of a sudden you get stressed and it takes over and, you know, you're not you anymore. So mindfulness is techniques that allow you to really be present, calm, and in the moment. And that is so critical in our workplaces today.
And mindfulness is the M in the MVP approach that you talk about. So let's go through the other parts of it.
Yeah, so M is for mindfulness. V is for vision, and this is also another interesting one because a lot of organizations have vision statements, but they are these 30-second elevator speeches. They really don't mean much. They're very obtuse, and if you actually ask every single department, what does that vision mean to you? They'll all come up with these different definitions, and I've done this. I've done these surveys and studies. And then companies wonder why every department acts in a silo and why their organization is not kind of all running towards the same goal. Because the vision actually has to be a lot more in depth. It has to inspire. If you go to definitions, it's all about the inspiration and connecting people, really the heart of business, connecting people to their purpose. Why are they there? So that whole visioning part is really getting a more in-depth vision that people actually use as a tool, a litmus test. So there's the mindfulness of the person connecting to themselves and ensuring that they can reduce stress levels, but then connecting back into the organization, which is where the visioning comes in for the V.
All right. And the third part of it is the P, which is productivity.
Yeah. And you know, it's great to be in the present moment. It's wonderful to be connected to what's going on, but like everything else, you have to be able to do things better, effective, more efficient, particularly with the demands of the competitive business world that we have today. We are on a global scale. Our competitors aren't just our neighbors. They're actually across in different countries. So organizations have to be more effective. They have to be more efficient. But they don't have to be effective and efficient at the expense of the people. In fact, this is why bringing this approach, which is a very new and innovative way of looking at business, is a very holistic approach. Let's look at our business challenges, but let's do it from a perspective of people who work in the organization are the answer. So why don't we help reduce their stress by teaching them mindfulness? Why don't we be collectively as a group, understand really who we are and what we're about by better visioning, and then bring in those great productivity methodologies that we've all been using, and there's tons out there. I have my own personal favorite, but bring that in together collectively as a full program. You will see shifts and changes in organizations more so than if you just focus on one.
You work with a lot of companies, and I know people often feel like the company, the managers do not care about employee morale. What have you seen?
You know, yes, I've seen that. So I'm not going to say that does not exist. Yes, it does exist. But this is what's really interesting. I find it exists when you have organizations that are very ego-based. And what I mean by that is when you're solely focused on yourself, particularly in senior management, only worried about how is this going to look on me versus focusing on those who are working for you, ultimately getting to the goals that you need to have done. Without them, you wouldn't be able to do what you do. But when we focus on ego, it takes us away from connecting and having compassion for those around us. And this is why this whole mindfulness aspect, this is not new coming into the business world. If you actually start going on to the internet and Google and do research on mindfulness, it's starting to come to the forefront. And you have organizations like Google who have been bringing in mindfulness into their organizations because the research behind it is quite remarkable. It actually brings a greater sense of well-being, increases compassion, increases resilience. It allows for teams to actually be more cohesive and teaches people how to let go of ego. And that is actually at the crux of why a lot of organizations tend not to connect with their employees, is the ego part. So with mindfulness, we can teach ourselves how to let go of that and start not looking at the me, but at the we.
The workplace in general has really changed. People are no longer getting these, great jobs with pension and great benefits. A lot of people are being brought on as independent contractors. Are you hopeful about the workforce moving forward?
Definitely. I think everything in life, there's always good and bad, pro and con, up and down. I mean, there's always this yin and yang going on. And to reflect on the past and saying the past was the answer is to really not be able to look at the future and see all the amazing possibilities that are out there. But more importantly, even just being able to look at the present moment that we have now. There are organizations that still have people working there for a very long time, particularly organizations that are very connected to their people. So it really is going to be dependent upon who you are as a person and what the organization is all about. But I have a lot of faith. I think there is a shift in the workforce. There is more independence, but I think with that independence, how you look at it actually can bring you a lot more freedom as an individual too.
Adriana, always great to talk to you. Thank you so much for this.
Well, thank you so much, Barb. I always appreciate when you call on me. Thanks.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Adriana Girdler, President and CEO of Cornerstone Dynamics.
I hope you enjoyed the interview that gave more in-depth information on this new and innovative approach that will allow for most organizations to stop that cycle of repeating the same mistakes over and over again. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. As well, subscribe below because there's more videos coming with some information to help you. And more importantly, please share it with your friends, family, and colleagues. Thank you so much and see you at the next video. Thank you.